With an average of 4 million annually, Erie's Presque Isle sees more visitors than any other state park. It's also been cited as the best freshwater beach in the country. First being designated a state park in 1921, the Sandy Peninsula has 11 miles of beach, a marina, lighthouses, and is a great place to ride a bike, go bird watching, or whatever it is that you do on a peninsula in Lake Erie. But the erosive nature of the sandy shore means that the profile of Presque Isle is constantly changing. This shouldn't be surprising to anybody, but of course, with Presque Isle being of such importance to the Commonwealth, there's been a lot invested in maintaining the park as we have known it. For half a century, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has invested millions of dollars in trying to maintain Presque Isle as almost the island that it is, Presque being French for almost or hardly. In the early 1990s, more than 50 rock breakwaters were constructed around the state park in an effort to keep the existing beaches from being eroded away. But more than anything, the expense has been sand. In the past 50 half-century years, the Commonwealth has spent over $120 million on sand. Between 2011 and 2015, the Army Corps of Engineers has moved 435,000 cubic yards of sand to the Isle. An investigative report by Pittsburgh's WTAE states that this is the equivalent of 43,500 dump truck loads in a 5-year time span. The current debate is the effectiveness of those breakwaters, whose supporters state that the goal was to slow down the process of erosion, and maybe the breakwaters have done that, but they've also prevented the natural process of new sand coming in and building on the beach front. From the air, the beaches at times appear scalloped due to sand building up between the breakers, and then having to be manually redistributed along the rest of the beaches. An indisputable fact is that since the construction of those breakwaters, the area of Gull Point, the northernmost point of the Isle, has lost more than 50 acres to erosion. The southern bay of Gull Point has seen sand accumulating nearly to the same degree during the same time period, changing the shape of the Isle. The winter months typically find parts of the bay frozen, which acts like a protective shield against further erosion during the winter. Previous mild winter, though, means that 2017 saw significant changes to the Isle's coast, and without the aid of federal funds, the Commonwealth will have to decide how much more than the norm they will spend replenishing the sand. Usually, the federal government allots roughly $3 million to the preservation of Presque Isle. Within the state's representatives, there is bipartisan support for efforts to continue combating the erosion. There is an ongoing effort to prevent the inevitable splitting of the Isle from a peninsula to a peninsula and small island. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania continues to invest money and manpower into shoring up the Isle and slowing the process of erosion, but there is a dispute about the effectiveness of those breakwaters that were built in the 90s, and whether or not they should be removed. At this time, though, there are no plans to remove the breakwaters, citing expenses as well as mixed feeling among those involved as to their effectiveness. In the meantime, if you haven't visited Presque Isle, maybe you should do so in the near future. Do you have any interesting stories about Presque Isle? Because we'd like to hear those as well, and you can always email us at drpennsylvania@gmail.com, or put a comment here, or better yet, check out our Facebook page. We got lots of different pictures, historical and otherwise, from our travels. Anyhow, thanks again.